Hey guys, Rook here. It's been a while since I did a video that's outside of like deck profiling and speed duel matchups. I just wanted to take a step back and make this video just to kind of address some of the changes that we've seen in the community and in the speed duel product itself. We are in a time where tournaments aren't happening as frequently. The product has been spaced out. There's been feedback, both positive and negative, and just wanted to take a step back and address where I see the community is, the product is, and tournaments are right now. At the time of recording this video, this is April 2020. So there are a lot of changes going on, in both the Speed Duel product and the world itself at this time. But I wanted to talk about the Speed Duel product and where we are now. So as of April 2020, the most recent release was the Trials of the Kingdom Booster Pack. That was on December 6th, 2019. So, what we saw last year in 2019 was once a booster set was released, say like Attack from the Deep or Scars of Battle, we typically saw the announcement in the next box like immediately after. Following the release of the Trials of the Kingdom booster, this was the first one where we actually had silence and kind of no announcement until around February of this year, 2020, when the two new structure decks were announced. That's the Match of the Millennium and the Twisted Nightmares, currently set to release May 15th, 2020, which is about a month from this video. So to date, we've seen 5 structure deck products and 4 booster box products for Speed Duel, starting in January 2019 all the way to current, with the 2 new structure decks coming out in May 2020. So we're going about a year and a half now of the Speed Duel format. So format is committed to releasing content. The only thing that we're seeing differently now is that there's longer gaps between announcements. Let's talk about tournaments. A lot of tournaments are happening online. Local tournaments, I don't know where you are, depending on where you are. My locals averaged about 6 to 12 people at what I would consider to be one of the best times to play Speed Duel, which was like August 2019, right when Scars of Battle came out. But if you're somewhere in the middle of nowhere, I'm sure your locals struggled to get off the ground or couldn't even get off the ground at all. Even in a highly populated area I was in, there were some card shops that just didn't have any interest in doing Speed Duel tournaments because to them, 6 to 8 people in a tournament isn't profitable. It doesn't make sense to run, which I totally understand. Now, of course, as of right now, April 2020, there aren't any locals running, and we're relying primarily on online tournaments. So you'd think that online tournaments would kind of surge and take off even more so with Dueling Book and those resources that we have now that people can't go to locals. But we actually aren't seeing that either. There's really no interest in online Speed Duel tournaments right now, and I think that a lot of it has to do with the meta. Yeah, there's been some observations around the meta as well. As you noticed, a lot of my videos don't involve the Cocoon Parasite decks. I'm not trying to be completely ignorant to the meta, because if I enter an online tournament, I have to know how to play against it, absolutely. But another reason why we've seen online tournaments slow down is because there were 2 pillars in the Speed Duel community for online tournaments: Speed Duel League and Konjic. The Speed Duel League and Konjic brands were consistently churning out tournaments, whether it was something you bought into or it was a free tournament, but they had both recently slowed down as of this year, 2020. And as I mentioned, this is mostly in reaction to the poor meta as perceived by a lot of the community. I'm talking about the Stall and the Cocoon Parasite decks. I wanted to take some time to address some of these big players in the community and where we are right now in April 2020, who's making content, who's hosting tournaments. So I don't want to offend or slight anybody. Everything I'm about to state are just facts that I've seen from the past few months. I wanted to gather all in one place so that you guys are aware of who's active and who's not. Well, I want to start with Speed Duel League. Speed Duel League, very well-known content creator, very consistent, established Discord for Speed Duel tournaments, very successful. As of recently, we saw long gaps in his Speed Duel videos, with the last one uploaded on January 10th, 2020. We did see some Hearthstone, Magic Spellslingers content in the gap, and then on March 1st, 2020, Speed Duel League had a live podcast announcing officially that he is moving away from Speed Duels to cover other card games. Now, he's actually changed his YouTube name away from Speed Duel League and is now labeled Card Tard, which I believe was his just general name prior to the Speed Duel League brand. So the YouTube channel is now labeled Card Tard rather than Speed Duel League for, makes sense. If you're not making Speed Duel content, keeping the name of Speed Duel League doesn't make a lot of sense. So I understand why he changed that. And then around his tournaments, he was doing a lot of tournaments. He recently moved into a premium kind of membership with his Discord, but he was still doing free Speed Duel tournaments, and his last one was from March, but I did some research on where that was. I did not enter that one, and it seemed to stop after a few rounds. I think just the general interest was lost. So his Discord is still active around the Speed Duel kind of discussion and community, but not as active as it was. Card Game Philosopher. This is Danique, a Speed Duel content creator that I've worked with in the past. primarily focused on streaming on Twitch, which is great. We see a lot of content creators for YouTube, not so much Twitch, and he definitely shifted his focus more to the streaming, which is a great medium that's not entirely covered too often. However, on March 19th, 2020, he put out a video stating that he is quitting Speed Duel and getting back into the advanced format. Okay, makes sense. Speed Duel is basically a gateway drug to getting back into the advanced format. Is something that I've seen. Like, I've had buddies that I've gotten into Speed Duel. My biggest gripe for going back into the advanced is that I don't want to spend the money, to be honest. And Speed Duel kind of gives me that feeling of nostalgia. I'm sure that works for a lot of you guys. But some people that I've seen go back into Speed Duel eventually just slip into the advanced format, and then there they are back into their habit of spending $800 on a deck, but not judging. Anyway, Danique moved back to the advanced format. So the card game Philosopher, no longer making Speed Duel content. He does have a video out there stating that he quit Speed Duel and is moving back to the advanced format. He also has a Discord that is semi-active in the Speed Duel discussion, but not as active as it was. Let's talk about Konjik. Konjik, arguably the biggest Speed Duel tournament organizer outside of Speed Duel League, and recently content creator. They did make a YouTube channel doing giant card deck profiles and other items like that. So Konjik, primarily active on the Facebook groups. There are a couple Facebook groups around Yugioh Speed Duel that they are active in, and they actually made their own Facebook group as well. But as of recently, there were gaps in their content and tournaments. The last tournament that I saw that was announced, it was on February 2nd, 2020. The prize was a tournament pack, Gravekeeper's Oracle, and from what I could tell, they could not reach the required attendees. So last tournament was announced February 2nd, and it did not happen. So Konjik is primarily composed of two individuals, two friends, Marco Markonjik and Mike Steinman. On March 10th, 2020, Marco posted about selling his entire Speed Duel collection on one of the Speed Duel League Facebook groups. He did confirm that he still intends to play online. On March 29th, 2020, Mike posted his copies of Parasite Paranoid for sale, which is a staple in the deck he was playing competitively. He was playing a Cocoon Parasite deck. Both of those posts foreshadow that they may be moving away from the Speed Duel format as well. In fact, on a recent Facebook post of another YouTuber trying to gauge interest in a tournament, Marco tags Mike and says something along the lines of, "How about one last ride?" which kind of leads me to believe that they are really moving away from the Speed Duel format. Their last content video on YouTube, which is no longer named Konjik, now it's actually named Mike Steinman. The last video upload was on February 26, 2020. Yugi Bros. Yugi Bros is a content creator, probably one of the oldest ones for the Speed Duel format, a beloved content creator primarily around Speed Duel matches, whether it's on Dueling Book or live. And they did originally have a consistent release schedule last year for the longest time. I think it was like 3 times a week. But as of now, they had a less consistent release schedule, and their last Speed Duel video was released on January 25th, 2020. That was touching on the new structure decks coming out this year. So we haven't seen a match in a while. There have been a few videos that they've had since then around other Yu-Gi-Oh content, but not so much Speed Duel. So we are kind of seeing them recede from Speed Duel content as well. Yugiohspeedduels.com. This was the website that I promoted myself last year around August to, it was like August to October, or July to October was when they were really picking up. So Yugiohspeedduels.com is tied into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels subreddit, and they do have a Discord as well. Now, the Yugiohspeedduels.com domain is actually no longer active, and the original administrator has not organized a tournament since around August 2019. So those tournaments I participated in, I live streamed. Those videos are on my channel also from last year. Those tournaments were a little different because a lot of tournaments that we see online, you have 48 hours to play your match kind of thing. But this guy always did his tournaments where it was like a Thursday night or a Saturday night at like a 6-hour period, capped at 10 entries, something like that, and we just play it all out in like a 4 to 6 hour period. I personally like that a little better, so I don't have to constantly be like on call and thinking about what I'm doing for my next match. So I will disclose that I'm a moderator for both the Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel subreddit and the Discord that is still active. And I was discussing with the other moderators around a new tournament to gauge interest, throw up something like a playset of something as a prize. But we'd be looking at doing the kind of 6 hours in one night kind of tournament. But it's all about gauging interest first, so that's in the works. Vault. You guys all probably know him at this point. Very, very consistent YouTuber with really no gaps in Speed Duel content. I think that he's the strongest from a content creation standpoint throughout this entire time period. He releases videos every 3 days or so. In fact, I think I just saw one out yesterday, and he's very good on posting to every media platform that the new video is out, which is part of the reason for his success. Is the eyes on his videos are fantastic. He also reacts to Speed Duel news within 1 day with a video, essentially, and he partners with a with a lot of people for content. I partnered with him in the past. He's partnered with other Speed Duel YouTubers. So Vault, this is an opinion. Vault is probably the best person to watch right now for Speed Duel content. All right, last community member I want to talk about, and I'm sorry if I missed you guys. This list is based on what I've seen, in the past few months in regards to consistent content, and of course the relationships that I've had in the past year with building the community. But the last YouTuber I want to touch on is this guy, Curse of Yugioh, YGO. It's funny, he's so new that I couldn't find him in just a search of YouTube. It's Curse of, there's no space in between. But this is a newer channel, and I see him post on the Facebook groups very frequently. He's making a consistent effort. Currently, I think 8 or 9 videos since his first on March 2nd, 2020. So the channel is about a month old for Speed Duel content. Very, very active in Facebook groups and attempting to generate interest in online tournaments. He's currently trying to generate interest, and I think he had a video out about like a $100 Speed Duel tournament that I am planning to enter as well. So it's a nice effort. It's a nice breath of fresh air to see. And hopefully that this works for him. And if the prizes are there, I think the people will come. So I hope him the best, and I hope this tournament works out. That'll be interesting. And then let me talk just a little bit about myself, if I may. So I had about a month kind of gap between videos. My son was recently born in late January 2020. And at the time, I had 4 or 5 videos stockpiled and released on a weekly schedule, and eventually that ran out, right? So I had to kind of throw a couple things together to kind of fill in the gaps, but we did see a couple small gaps in February and March. But now I'm back on my grind, baby. Should see some bi-weekly or weekly Speed Duel content. Currently, I have no plans to deviate from Speed Duel. I have a lot of matches recorded before March that I'm still going through. I have a backlog of things to kind of churn out to you guys, and of course I have some ideas for other things that maybe don't need other people to kind of make. And that's where we are for April 2020 in the Speed Duel community. Just waiting on, right now the meta is going to be the Cocoon, Parasite, and Stall decks while we wait for these new structure decks to come out in the middle of May. Will the structure decks change the meta? Not sure, but I'm hoping that we kind of get through this as we see more people kind of move away from Speed Duel. We also see some few that are just getting into Speed Duel. I'm always seeing people saying they're getting into Speed Duel and what's good and what can I play, and of course new content creators coming out. So the format is always going to be alive in some capacity. It's up to us to consistently breathe new life into it and to have fun with it. So I encourage just everybody to have fun. Obviously there's a lot going on right now. Maybe you can't spend a lot of time focusing on card games in general, and maybe if you can, maybe Speed Duel is kind of in the back of your burner. That's fine, but I'm having a lot of fun with it still, and I really just enjoy making these things for you guys, honestly. Really, so more to come, but I appreciate you guys' time, and I'll catch you later. See ya.